Hey there, I'm Nina Hendrick and welcome to my channel. I am coming back from a bit of a video hiatus. I took a couple of years off after we moved into our new home here in New Hampshire. It's actually been 2 years to the day since we made that move, and that's the theme of this video today. I'm super excited to show you everything that we've changed since we moved in, and also some of my dreams for what I want to do with the house moving forward. So it's a really beautiful house. We definitely lucked out. It's an extra tough real estate market here on the Seacoast. Yes, New Hampshire does have a seacoast. It's an itty bitty tiny 13-mile stretch with a few surrounding towns, and we lucked out and were able to find a beautiful house that has almost all of the features that we would have desired, to be honest with you. There were a few little changes we wanted to make, and there are still a few changes moving forward, but you know, overall the house was move-in ready. It was a very great solution, and we're so excited to be closer to our family and friends. We've made a couple of changes that I didn't really record along the way. One of the biggest ones was the pressure washing of the exterior. So I'm going to put up a couple of clips that will show you what the house looked like before. So just for a bit of background, this was a cedar shake home, and when we moved in, it had a lot of mildew and discoloration on the outside. So one of the first things we did after we moved in was we cleaned off that cedar shake, and I wish I had recorded it. I didn't want to be creepy and like follow the kid around, but it was so fun to watch all of that mildew and dirt come off the house and expose that really beautiful raw wood behind. It made a huge difference. It looks like a completely new house, completely new siding. So that was one of the first big things that we did. Another was we ripped out all the old landscaping. But with those two major, projects that I didn't follow along the way, I didn't share them because I was recovering from surgery. It was like a super tough time. Other than that, I have mostly shared what we've done. So I'm excited to bring you on this tour, and in the corner you'll see the very first video tour that I created when we moved in. So this was for Instagram, so it's in vertical format, but it's gonna run alongside the updated current tour the entire time. So a quick note about the tour before we get started. It is a little raw, it is a little unfiltered. I did not stage everything perfectly. This isn't a home tour like you would see on my blog. Video is a lot more real. Video shows you all of the angles of the room. So I can't just tuck things out of the view of the camera because I'm going all over the place. So you're gonna see some of our clutter, you're gonna see some of our life. With my kids home for the summer, that is just the way it is. Hopefully in the future, I'll be able to share maybe some seasonal tours where the house is a little bit neater. And I'm actually gonna bring you along the way in future videos and get rid of some of that clutter and show you my process of how I get rid of stuff. So I hope you'll follow along with that. And if you haven't already, you can hit the subscribe button down below in order to make sure that you see when those new videos go live. Without further ado, let's jump in. So here is where we started the tour 2 years ago exactly, and it looks so much different. Like, the plants were very overgrown before. Between our friend Adam's business Land Tech, quick plug for him if you're on the Seacoast, they're a great landscaping company, and some plants I've done myself, this area looks so much better. Land Tech is here right now. They just planted that tree, and they're currently planting all of those beautiful things, as well as, and to the other side of the yard, cleaning up what was once an overgrown area. Looking so much better already. Our yard has been our massive project this year, and we are just now kind of pulling that project together, it feels like. This is our porch. Our cushions are in kind of rough shape, as you can see. We brought the same porch furniture from our old house, and unfortunately the cushions for these chairs have mildewed. I do have to have new covers made for them, and then I cannot get those cushions to stay on the swing, so I'm gonna have to come up with a different solution, maybe some Velcro. But we just brought the same exact furniture that we had in our Massachusetts house, and we put it on this porch. Looking a little tired at this point, so I might spruce it up with maybe a new rug or some pillows. Not quite sure yet, but it's definitely little changes in order for the fall. So we'll head inside. Our foyer. and a ladder because, like I said, we are in the middle of a million different things right now. And so that is the reality of this house. Same furniture from our family room in our old house. If you've been following along, it probably looks familiar. A little bit more beat up now after having a puppy and her shenanigans. So I am thinking about a new sofa. I have my eye on Krypton fabric because it didn't exist when we bought sofas the last time. We'll see. Not high on the priority list. I'll show you the project later on, that is, which is the office right there. So this built in down the road, I would like for the fireplace to be on the floor. I'm not a big fan of the up high fireplace, but you know, if you have a case to make for it, please do so in the comments because people were able to talk me into keeping a piece of trim in my dining room after pointing out all the benefits, and I do love to be convinced not to make things more difficult. So with these built-ins, I wish that the bookcases matched the cabinets. I don't know why they don't. It drives me crazy, and it's something that most people probably aren't going to care about or notice, but the proportions look all wrong to me. And it's just this whole thing, like, good idea, bad execution. So I do want to keep the base cabinets, but maybe fix the top and kind of give this thing a little revamp. I'm not positive what that looks like yet, but I do have some thoughts, obviously. With this skylights, that's what they're called. Again, like not the highest thing on the priority list, but I do want to make those into dormers someday. I also want to do something with the ceiling, maybe some sort of treatment. It would be a lot of board and batten, but it would also be really gorgeous. So perhaps someday. Wall treatments, definitely some sort of drape. And let's pan around. So this is the dining room. We were very lucky. It was already an extremely pretty room. The previous owners had already put in this wall treatment down below, the wainscoting, and they had painted this pale oak by Benjamin Moore. And this was the piece of trim I was talking about. I at first was like, I don't get it. Why is that there? But then everybody was like, well, think about how weird it would look without it. And they were able to convince me to leave it alone, and it has really grown on me. So it definitely made it easier not to rip that out and have to redo all of the trim. So, you know, if you could help me with the fireplace by showing me its merits, I would be great too. The furniture is the same as our previous house. This is the Pottery Barn set that Mac and I bought right after we were married. So, you know, almost 15 years ago now. And I did notice, funny little side note, that Pottery Barn has brought back this finish after a decade plus. They are calling it like Farmhouse Heritage or something Heritage, which, you know, I'm just glad that I will be able to point people in that direction when they ask, because for years I've been trying to kind of piecemeal a similar finish, but they are bringing it back. If you hold on to something for long enough, it'll come back around. This mirror is from a project that I'm about to show you, which, you know, was a little bit of a spontaneous Nina project. I have 3 pieces of art to hang up on this wall, and I'm going to walk you through that when I do it, just to show you how I determine how high I want to hang artwork and how I'm going to do it in this room. Like, it's pretty easy to see, actually. 1, 2, 3 pieces of art. I'm going to line it up with those battens. And I'm also over here going to do a gallery wall with some of my grandfather's artwork. Actually, let me backtrack for 1 second and show you my grandfather's artwork. I am so lucky that he gives me all these beautiful paintings that I can hang up, and I'm spoiled in that way. And I'm going to add another one. He has a still life of fruit that I absolutely love. That's going to be kind of the basis for the gallery wall over there. If you're interested in buying my grandfather's paintings and you're ever in Sanbornville, New Hampshire, you have breakfast at Lino's restaurant. You can purchase his paintings there. So a little plug for my hometown. These I'm going to be adding probably like a Roman shade style window treatment. I don't want to cover up that gorgeous millwork. I want to make sure that that's able to shine. Same light fixture from our dining room in our previous house. It's become iconic in our family. If you haven't heard the chandelier story, I will tell it another day when I talk a little bit more about this dining room. Just in the interest of keeping this video on the shorter side, I won't tell that story, but it does have a legendary status in my family. Another painting by my grandfather of the Remick Museum, which is in Tamworth, New Hampshire, Chikarwa, New Hampshire. Right here, this is a project that I decided to take on. This vanity was cherry to match what the old island once looked like. Not a fan of cherry, so I decided to prime it a couple weeks ago. And then if you give a mouse a cookie, once I had it primed, I looked at the countertop and I was just like, it's epoxy. It's like that recycled glass that you sometimes see at like dentist's office. So I was like, well, it's already epoxy. Why not make it more epoxy? So I'm going to try to give it a faux marble epoxy finish. This kit is one I found on Amazon that changes your countertop to Carrara marble. So I will bring you along on the ride for that, and we'll see how it turns out. I'm also going to do the floor. I really don't have anything to lose. We were planning on ripping this up eventually anyway. It's a very dated, yucky tile. So between the countertop already being epoxy and the floor tile being kind of a toss away, I think that that's a good place to experiment with this very inexpensive product and see how close I can get it to looking like the Carrara that we have elsewhere in the house. Let me turn the lights off so I don't set the wall on fire. It doesn't seem good to have them right up against it. This is the Mudroom, which this is a project that we did with Pro Image Painting this past winter. Again, it was cherry. I mean, people are probably, I'm going to get a little pushback on this one, I think. I did not like the cherry, and they were pretty beat up from the previous owner's children, but I love this pale oak on the cabinets. I think it looks fantastic. I'm really excited to try to find some baskets that fit the dimensions of those cubbies, which I think will give it some texture. I do plan on down the road putting wallpaper on the walls because it's just kind of a little too plain in here. We've replaced that same brown tile with these large format slate tiles. They're unreal. They're absolutely beautiful. I have 2 doors that I'm going to use to replace these. I just haven't put the finish on them, which matches the kitchen island. I'll show you the kitchen island in a second, but that over there is the previous laundry room. We've moved it upstairs to where there were washer and dryer hookups up there. And then this is the utility closet. So I do have some fresh doors to put on, just haven't gotten around to it. And this is the kitchen in its everyday summer glory. This is by far my favorite room at the house at the moment. I really love the primary bathroom too. 2 rooms that we've finished are definitely up there as my 2 favorite, but it is just so different from move-in day. I'll put that in the corner as always. You can just really compare and contrast how different this room looks. It's funny because it did have white cabinets. It just simply was dated. It was beat up. It needed to be refreshed, and I could not love this room more. So happy with it. And zoom around to the breakfast nook. There was a built-in that was over there that, well, it was like a semi-built-in. We had that removed and put up in the attic of our barn. That is the bigger breakfast nook table than we started with. I'll show you the other table in a second, but we needed something to fit the scale of the room. It's hard to see in this video, but this room is huge. It's like 20 feet across. So we needed a real big table to kind of fill in the space. And I knew I wanted it to be round. Again, swapping out the skylights for dormers. And then I'm hoping down the road to put in a faux beam and then to center a chandelier over the table instead of a ceiling fan. We don't really need a ceiling fan in this room. I'm also thinking of bringing the beams down the sides, and instead of faux, maybe I should say like non-structural, decorative, reclaimed wood beam, kind of what I have in mind. So not the biggest project on the list, but definitely something I've considered. So over here, before we go into the office, I will show you this bar area. So this was kind of just an unused space before, and I decided to paint it. And then we also had the marble countertop put in, which I love. I drew this out, and it was executed very nicely, and I absolutely love the antique look to this space. That is Coventry Gray by Benjamin Moore, which will be the same color as the bathroom vanity when I'm all done. So let's go into my office next. don't have any storage in here in the moment other than this, which is not enough. I've been working on that painting for about a year, and I'm not at my grandfather's level yet, but hopefully someday, and hopefully I can find time to finish it. So that is my beautiful view, as well as the new patio. I can see right from my office, and I've been trying not to work in here because the guys have been working on the patio. The guys from Hillsgrove Masonry, if you are looking for someone in the Lakes region of New Hampshire. And that is where I sit every single day when they are not working and work. But I definitely need some storage in here. Again, considering wallpaper, I think maybe my hydrangea wallpaper that I had left over from a project in our old house. So this is what we call the pool room or the back porch. It is, I love the beadboard. Let me start there. I absolutely love the beadboard in this room. I love the coastal look of it. I put my grandfather's paintings and some buoys before the clutter took over. But right now it's where we come in from the pool. Not a fan of the tile. And unfortunately, we just don't use this bench. It just kind of, that table is the one that used to be in the kitchen, which was way too small. And we are storing it for our friends until their house is completed down the road. So that will be coming out of here. But that bench it's a good idea, but just not really practical for us. So I'm thinking of replacing it with cabinetry and maybe even a dog wash and making that into kind of like a potting area. And then that is how you get to the back patio. You can see this an even better sneak peek. And I'll bring you on a yard tour another day. But let's go back around. And I will bring you over where the next part of the tour will take place, which is down this way. So the next room is my least favorite room in the house. And that is the office. And if you see the before, it looked like a doctor's office, and now it looks like the primary place that a 30-something man and a 8-year-old girl share space. So you've got my husband's car projects going on over here, and then you've got Lila's crafts everywhere else. And then where there isn't that, there's my overflow from my office, because I don't have any storage in my office currently. So this room is going to get a full overhaul. And, I'm not going to apologize and I'm not going to be embarrassed, but just like I suggest you do when company comes over and there's something you don't want to see. There we go. Perfect. So much better. So across from the office, we have the primary bedroom. And yes, my Peloton is in my bedroom because we don't have a finished basement here. So I'm more likely to work out in our bedroom versus the creepy, dark, dirty basement. So we haven't really done much with this room. I haven't hung artwork. We really just moved our furniture from our previous home to this one. This is a little slice of real life here. Lila got us these souvenirs when she went to Santa's Village a couple weeks ago, which is a theme park here in New Hampshire, and she wants them displayed. So there they are. But I have plans for this room. I'm not sure exactly what they are yet. They will probably involve trim of some type. Lights for sure. There are not any overhead lights other than one in this little alcove. This alcove, speaking of, will become a French door to the outside because that is where the new patio is. So there's already steps leading up to it, and we'll kind of finish that off. And then some sort of window treatments. Oh, the landscapers are about to go by. Sorry for the noise. Got a lot going on here today. But yeah, this room is still pretty basic. It looks a lot like it did on move-in day. The movers kind of just put the rug down in the center of the room versus the center of the bed, which isn't what I would have done, but I had just had surgery when we moved in, so it was kind of done, and I was tired, and I was like, it is what it is for now. So now to move on to a room I really do like. Swing around this way. Oh, and I'll show you a peek into our new closets. We had just like the wire basic systems on move-in day, and we swapped them out for California closets. That was actually our most recent project. So they are looking a lot better. They still need some decluttering and organization, but turn the light off. And then I'll show you Max. But yeah, overall, they are looking a lot better. He has the same basic setup as I do. but with more room for hats, and he actually has more shoes than I do, so more shoes. And then this is a project that you may have seen on the blog if you follow along over there. This is our primary bathroom, and this is a really pretty room. So this was our first major project in this house, and I love it. I take a bath every single night. I know some people don't use their tub, but I am one of those people who does. So I have been really happy to have this room complete. Details. And when you look at the before, you can see that it looks a lot better than it did. We put in this round window. This is a room that is, other than a couple of little accessories, it's mostly done. A friend of mine was actually laughing because people were extremely concerned about where I store my towels in this room because I don't have like a hand towel holder yet. It was back ordered and eventually I just canceled it. So I don't have a specific place to put hand towels, but I promise you, I do wash my hands. I just use this towel, a full-size towel, to dry them instead. So that is that area. So let's make our way upstairs. I'm trying to recreate the same view that I did 2 years ago. I look down at the living room. We just took the furniture from our old house and put it in there, so it's not exactly the right fit, but it is certainly good enough for now. You can see my supplies from when I was working on Logan's closet. So this is Logan's room. And he still has some of his closet storage pieces out. But, overall a really nice teen boy room. Comfy bed. That's artwork that I painted. I gave everything a fresh coat of paint. I eventually probably want to put a window seat in there, and maybe some sort of wall treatment. Like, I have considered a coastal shiplap to go with the kind of coastal theme of this room. But, not sure yet. And then his bathroom really looks exactly the same as move-in day. The only thing I did was get him a bath mat. Haven't changed that at all. He also got a California closet. This is a big risk. I don't know what it's going to look like in here. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, this is a wreck, but I just have to come back and paint this access panel to our attic. But yeah, he has the best teen boy closet potentially that I've ever seen. So 2 sides, all this storage. Lucky, lucky kid. Like, come on. It's a much better closet than I had growing up. All that empty space. So yeah, he's got a really good thing going on in here. Turn that off. We'll go down to Cooper's room. Yeah, all the clutter. Don't mind the clutter. Oh, and then this light has been swapped out from the original tour. It was just kind of like a boring light, and we swapped it out with this lantern. Side note, I never really know what to do over there. Like, it still has a Christmas candle in it. It's kind of a weird little area, but I also don't want to put a plant over there because I don't want it to get dusty, like even a faux plant. Let's make our way. I eventually want to put artwork over here. Haven't gotten around to it yet. This Cooper's room, it's a nice room. He just really doesn't like the color of it. Again, we just brought his decor from our old house. He's ready for a more grown-up look to this room. He's almost 13, so he's definitely ready for it to look more like a teenager space versus a little kid space. So that is certainly on the list. He has a new bathroom, actually. His was one of the only upstairs bathrooms that was not updated. So his bathing suit's hanging up there, but this is his bathroom. It's pretty simple. Like, we went with pretty simple finishes overall, but a huge improvement over what was here. So he's much happier with this updated bathroom. Make our way down to Lila's room, and that door is a random door to Cooper's bathroom that we don't actually use. Not sure why it has 2 doors. This is Lila's room. So again, not really updated too much, but one thing that we did do recently was we brought her seam closet system back and had them replicate it from California Closet, so it looks just like it did at our old house, which obviously it still needs some organization, but it is a huge improvement. Again, like I keep saying, over the wire shelvings. Cooper did have the same thing done to his closet. I did not look in there, but it is also, she's got some decluttering that she's been doing. She's my little organizer. She's really good at like going through her clothes and everything. So she has this like charming window in the sloped ceiling. And so one thing that we're talking about doing in this space is building the bed into the kind of like the, I can't think of the word at the moment, but you know what I'm trying to say, into the roof slope. I recently, after I had this idea and thought about it, I saw on Instagram that the Coastal Oak had this built for one of her kids, and I'm really excited to see that finished project because I want to see how it turns out, because I think that would be the great solution for this room to like build in her bed and maybe even like a dresser or something, and really make use of that roof line and give her more open space. Her bathroom, again, hasn't changed since move-in day. It was already updated. It simply, has her stuff in it now. It's not exactly what I would have done, but it's also not bad. So it is what it is. That's not, high on the priority list. If we update it, it will be a while from now. One thing that we did, and this was kind of a nightmarish project, was we moved the laundry room up here. So this was simply a closet before, and we transformed it to a laundry room. We also had to create a vent because apparently there was no dryer vent in here, which was really good. After we had already committed to moving the washer and dryer up here, we learned that there was no vent. And this place is a disaster. This is the playroom, so it is, kid zone. My son had a sleepover, so all of the air mattresses are not put away yet. And then you've got the American Girls and some Gatorade bottles, teen boy hangout and little girl, American Girl play area. Definitely needs to be decluttered because she does not play with like probably 90% of her toys. And so I'm really going to try to take that craft space from downstairs and put it here because this is where she spends a lot of her time. This is where I ended the tour last time, and it has a little bit of a different view with the new pavers. But yeah, that's our pool, and you can kind of see it from this room. And I will show you the outside in another video. And so that was it. That was the 2-year tour of our new home. And I know I talked about a lot of the things I want to change in the house, but there are also so many things that I love, and I hope that that was reflected in the tour too. I mean, it's so big, even though it really doesn't look like it is from the outside. It's a huge house, and it is so open and airy and bright, and I love the fact that the walls are painted white because Mac would have never let me paint all of the walls white, so I won that one by default, and I am going to keep it that way as much as possible. So there are a ton of things to be said for how gorgeous this house is and how much we love it, and I hope that you enjoyed kind of getting a peek into our life. Let me know in the comments which room was your favorite and which room are you the most excited to see us transform. I'm going to tell you, for me it's a tie between the office and the back porch, which is going to be like the planting room. I'm not sure which one I'm more excited about, but I think it's going to be great. So yes, leave that below, and I can't wait to chat with you more.